Day. I want to acknowledge the Executive Secretary of Nigeria's Shippers Council, who is here with us today. If I could ask some of my colleagues to come and pick up the table over there that's been knocked over. Thank you very much. Some of my colleagues, please, over there, come and help us to tidy that up. Also want to recognize the heads of Nigeria's Export Promotion Council and the Nigeria Export-Import Bank, and also the service chiefs that are represented here today. All of the service chiefs represented, you're very, very welcome. Now, when it comes to driving intra-African trade, the next speaker could be described as omnipresent. He's everywhere, meeting everyone. Who is anyone who can move the ambitions of the AFCFTA forward? In fact, he's so busy, right, that I started at one stage to suspect that he's secretly being cloned and there's more than one Mr. Mene. His Accra headquarters is making incredible progress with the AFCFTA. So please give a warm round of applause to give his special address for the Pact Roundtable. The Secretary General of the AFCFTA, Mr. Wamkele Mene.
Thank you very much, Mark, our program director, Your Excellency, Vice President Kashim Shettima, ably representing the President, Honorable Ministers, Minister Oduwale, State Minister Dora Uzoka Anite, Comptroller General Ade Niyi, Secretary General Saunders, Madam Kanayo Awani, Executive Vice President of Afrexim Bank, distinguished Directors General, heads of customs authorities from across the continent, private sector, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be back in Nigeria. As Mark was speaking in the earlier segment, I was remembering that in 1991, the Abuja Treaty entered into force. And the Abuja Treaty foresaw or contemplated the establishment of a free trade area in Africa. And so it is befitting that we are in Abuja, where the AFCFTA was born through the Abuja Treaty in 1991, and today through the effort of Comptroller General Ade Niyi, we are beginning to see the results of that vision. And so, Comptroller General, I want to thank you very much for your vision and for convening us here today. When we first met, I knew that you are a person of action who is results-oriented. And so the AFCFTA Secretariat strongly supports and strongly collaborates with your leadership to ensure that the Pact becomes a reality. And so I want to extend my congratulations to the Nigerian Customs Service and all the customs authorities that are represented here today. Customs administrations are at the center of implementation of the AFCFTA. We have transitioned from negotiations ably led by the Ministers of Trade. We are now in implementation mode. And in order for us to fully implement the AFCFTA and achieve the results that all of us desire to see, the leadership role of customs authorities is absolutely essential. And that is why the Customs Partnership for African Cooperation in Trade is an instrument that is indispensable as we implement the AFCFTA. In 3 provisions of the AFCFTA, in 3 annexes, the annex on customs cooperation, the annex on trade facilitation, as well as the annex on transit, we shall require the leadership of customs authorities. The implementation of rules of origin, the identification of products and the origin of these products rests primarily with customs authorities. To support this work, the AFCFTA Secretariat commits to collaborate closely with customs authorities and, of course, the private sector, the drivers of trade in Africa. In this regard, I want to congratulate the government of Nigeria. The report that Dr. Oduwale gave us about all of the hard work that has been achieved over the last few months certainly is commendable. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics states that Nigeria's largest export destination as we speak today is the African continent. And this, in my view, is a result of the realization by the government of Nigeria and the private sector of Nigeria that there are opportunities that are presented through the AFCFTA, not only in the services sector, but most importantly also in the creative industries. And so we look forward to continuing to work with our customs authorities through the MOU that we have signed. The Secretariat greatly appreciates the partnership with the World Customs Organization. We have an MOU that was formalized 3 years ago, and in terms of that MOU, we have been able to introduce digital technologies that make our trade more efficient and more affordable. And we thank the WCO for that partnership and that collaboration. Allow me to briefly set out 1 or 2 areas of advancement that the Secretariat has made over the last few years, working and collaborating with customs authorities. First, we established the AFCFTA electronic tariff book, which enables our economic operators to determine with certainty and clarity what tariff applies to their product. We have also introduced the AFCFTA transit document, as well as Madam Kanayo Awani was saying, soon we will roll out the single bond guarantee scheme, which Afrexim Bank will underwrite and support. We also are rapidly advancing towards the digitization of certificates of origin. And in the next few months, we hope to introduce a continental platform that will enable digital issuance of certificates of origin. Again, here, at the heart of all of these reforms are customs authorities and the role that they can play to ensure that we reduce trade, the cost of trade rather, that we reduce the bureaucracy of trade, and that we enable our economic operators to access markets across the continent of Africa at very, very cost-effective rates. These reforms are essential to making the AFCFTA work at the border, to making the AFCFTA work for our private sector, our economic operators, where the trade takes place and where the financing of trade happens. And so, in this connection, under your leadership, Comptroller General, and in your capacity as the chairperson of the World Customs Organization Council, we believe you have a very unique role to play, to be an advocate not only for the African continent, but also for modernization of systems, modernization of trade, and enabling the rest of the world to better understand the achievements that have happened through the AFCFTA, particularly in the area of customs. As the AFCFTA Secretariat, we remain fully committed to working hand in hand with customs authorities. As I mentioned earlier, the ministers of trade have done what they can. They have negotiated trade rules that enable Africa to integrate economically. Now we have to rely on the leadership of our customs authorities to ensure that this agreement is implemented. And so as I close, I want to once again recommit the Secretariat to the vision that is expressed in the Customs Pact, to working very closely with you to implement this vision. I wish all of you very good deliberations over the next few days. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for His Excellency Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCFTA. Now, we have come to almost the end of our program. Before we bring on our distinguished keynote speaker who's going to declare this open, let's take a moment of just a couple of minutes of reflection. Our film, our very short film, will show how far we've come and the challenges we've overcome. From infrastructure deficits to regulatory hurdles, Africa is indeed rising. And this is more than just a story. It's a call to action for all of us to keep breaking barriers and building bridges. Roll that film.
Across the African continent, nations once stood divided, locked out from the full promise of trade and shared prosperity. Barriers rose, built not of stone or steel, but from currency disparities, poor road networks, and the weight of limited infrastructure. Political divides deepened the distance, while fragmented systems slowed the movement of goods, ideas, and opportunities, keeping progress just out of reach for millions. Each country, full of potential, found itself isolated, boxed in, struggling to break free. Economies grew, yet connections faltered. Traders waited, doors remained closed. But then, a shift began. The Customs Partnership for African Cooperation in Trade, Pact, emerged as a vital link across the walls that once divided us. Where borders and bureaucracy once kept us apart, Pact became the bridge, uniting nations, harmonizing customs, and connecting economies. Working hand in hand with AfTA, it opened the doors to limitless intra-African trade, transforming potential into opportunity and turning a continent of division into a continent of collaboration. From fragmentation to unity, from isolation to integration. And as trade found new life, Afreximbank stepped forward, building a unified payment and settlement system that allows African nations to trade with each other seamlessly, safely, and in their own currencies. The Pact initiative, together with Customs Administration, AfTA, Afreximbank, and stakeholders across Africa, and with the support of the World Customs Organization, a new era of cooperation began. One driven by technology, trust, and shared ambition. Today, African trade flows freely. Borders are no longer barriers, but bridges of opportunity. The spirit of collaboration moves goods, connects people, and powers dreams across the continent. This is the future of Africa, connected, confident, and trading as one.
Absolutely wonderful. An excellent film that really illustrates exactly how far we've come. And we have come to that moment. And I will yield the floor to give the honors to introduce our keynote speaker and indeed he has a little surprise, a very nice surprise for you, Your Excellency. So I'm going to welcome back, please put your hands together for Dr. Bashir Adewale Adini, our Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, to the stage. Thank you.
Okay, Your Excellency's Sons Protocol, we just wanted to make a little presentation in a token of our appreciation to Our Excellency, Mr. President. Inside this unique box are articles made in Nigeria by SMEs that we feel is eligible to trade in the continent of Africa.
Okay, thank you very much. Wonderful moment there, made 100% made in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I now yield the floor to your keynote speaker, His Excellency representing the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please, a warm round of applause for the Vice President, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. The floor is yours, sir.
Kindly take your seats, please. The President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Goswill Obod Akpabio, GCON, ably represented by the distinguished Senator representing Oyo South Senatorial District, Senator Sharafuddin Abiodun Ali. The Chairman, House Committee on Customs and Excise, and member representing Yagba East, Yagba West, Mopamuro, Federal Constituency of Kogi State, Right Honorable Abigide Leke Joseph. The Honorable Minister of Trade, Industry and Investments, Dr. Jumoke Oduole MFR. The Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite. My brother, the Controller General Nigeria Customs Service, Dr. Bashir Adewale Adeni, FFR. The Secretary General World Customs Organization, Ian Saunders. The Chief of Army Staff, ably represented by the Deputy Chief of Policy and Planning, Army Headquarters, Major General J.R. La. The Chief of Naval Staff, ably represented by the Chief of Logistics, Naval Headquarters, Rear Admiral S.H. Abdullahi. The Vice Chair, World Customs Organization, West and Central African Region, and the Director General of Mali Customs, Mr. Amadou Konate, the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, His Excellency, my very good friend, Wamkele Mene, the Executive Vice President, Intra-African Trade and Export Development Afro-Exim Bank, Mrs. Kanayo Awani, senior government officials present here, Directors General of African Customs Administrations present, heads of military and paramilitary agencies, heads of government agencies and parastatals, Nigerian Customs Service Board members, the diplomatic corps and representatives of international organizations, captains of industry, development partners, members of the fourth estate of the Rim, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The utmost certainty in governance is that none of us can prosper in isolation. We exist to complement one another. Our size, our resources, our latent talent mean little if they are locked behind inefficient borders and fragmented markets. This is why I'm excited about the promise of this day. Our collective resolve to discuss the old habit of accepting slow borders as destiny and instead embrace the discipline of building borders that move at the speed of modern ambition. What we gather to pursue is the redesign of our continental future. When this administration assumed the mantle of leadership, we could only deliver our promised dividends by reforming structural barriers to trade and investment, removing bottlenecks that limit competitiveness, and rebuilding institutions for efficient regional integration. Guided by this, we unified the foreign exchange window in June 2023. We removed fuel subsidies to direct resources to critical infrastructure. We modernized port operations with 24-hour clearance. We adopted the Pan-African payment and settlement system to boost intra-African trade, and we prioritized non-oil export growth across key sectors. These reforms reinforce one another, creating a coherent foundation for stronger continental commerce and competitiveness. Each decision was a step towards a Nigeria that trades with confidence and an Africa that negotiates from a position of strength. We believe that our institutions have been deliberately aligned into a unified trade enablement architecture, dismantling the traditional silos that once separated agencies. The Nigerian Customs Service now advances digital clearance systems and risk-based inspections. The Nigerian Ports Authority drives port efficiency. The central bank enables local currency settlements through PAPs. The standard organization harmonizes product standards with continental frameworks. Nigerian Export Promoting Commission and Nexim Bank strengthen export readiness and provide targeted financing. This coordinated, integrated institutional approach is essential for successful continental integration. For no single agency can deliver the scale of reform required for Africa's prosperity. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, central to Nigeria's continental trade strategy is the national single window, a transformative digital platform whose phase 1 goes live in March 2026 with full rollout by December 2026. It will allow businesses to submit import and export information once through a unified portal, automate interagency data sharing and real-time processing, apply risk-based compliance to speed up clearance for legitimate traders, and out cargo clearance time from 21 days to under 7. These will certainly significantly boost port productivity. Fully aligned with the AFCTA digital frameworks, the national single window positions Nigeria as a continental standard bearer for customs, digitalization, and seamless inter-African commerce. We believe that fragmented markets cannot achieve industrial scale, negotiate effectively with global powers, or withstand external shocks. Integration, however, enables large-scale industrialization, collective bargaining strength, and resilient supply chains. Nigeria approaches this responsibility with practical systems and infrastructure, not rhetoric. The strength of a continental market cannot be declared. It must be engineered. Africa has already taken the hardest step by agreeing on integration through AFCTA. The critical task now is execution. Success will be judged not by communiques, but by real outcomes. Shorter border crossing times, reliable local currency settlements, Nigeria remains firmly committed, structurally and operationally, to building an Africa that trades by design, where integration is practical, measurable, and effective. Our ambition is simple: a continent where borders facilitate opportunities rather than inhibit them. Let me commend the organizations of the Customs Pact, the Nigeria Customs Service, AFCFTA, African Bank, and WCO for this historic gathering. To the Comptroller General and the Nigeria Customs Service, your work on customs modernization, the national single window, and AFCFTA commitments reflect the practical, systems-driven approach our continent requires. And to all our participating heads of custom administrations, Africa is watching. History will judge us by execution, by how our borders function, how our systems operate, and how our trade flows. Let us commit fully to excellence in implementation. It is my singular honor and privilege to cherish forever, to declare this function open on behalf of my boss, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you most sincerely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Vice President. Your Excellency, if I could ask you to remain standing. Now, Your Excellency, we're going to take some photos because we love you and we want to take photos with you, and then we'll take a pledge of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and then you will depart. So for the first photo session, could I please ask the representative of the Senate President, representative of the Speaker, all the honorable ministers, the Secretary General of the WCO and the AFCFTA, the VP of Afreximbank, Kanayo Awani, Mrs. Kanayo Awani, the Vice Chair of the WCO, WCA, and the Comptroller General, also Dr. Adini, to take the first photo, please. Next, could I ask to join them the heads of the customs and administrations and the military and paramilitary, and Your Excellencies, the ambassadors representing countries from across Africa and beyond, and the high commissioners, to please join this family photo. So that's the heads of the customs administrations, the military, and Your Excellencies, the ambassadors and high commissioners, as well as heads of other government agencies, and the business leaders that were here on stage with us today. The business leaders that were here, please join us. Some of you can stand on the steps at the back, I think, if possible, just so we get a good shot, because yes, you can stand on the reds. Perfect. This is a beautiful photo. Please crowd in on the sides there so we can get you. Yes, wonderful. Okay, snappers, snap. His Excellency the Vice President has made history today by formally opening the first ever Customs Partnership for African Cooperation and Trade here in Abuja, Nigeria. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one final thing for me to do, which is I will ask the band to please quieten, if I could quieten the band, and if you could all join me, please, in reciting the National Pledge of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, please. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's proceedings until after lunch. Please remain at your seats as the Vice President exits. We'll be going to lunch shortly. I'll explain where we go in a moment.